that leads us to repentance. So this morning, I was thinking again today. Actually, I had a good night's sleep and I wasn't anxious this morning. I actually overslept, so I'm late going to go exercise this morning. But when I was getting up this morning, I was thinking about, once again, the family devotional thing that we do on Sundays, talking about kindness. And this passage came to mind from years ago, I remember. And funny how the Lord will bring stuff to your remembrance. But it was said, or basically I remembered, the kindness of the Lord leads us to repentance. And then I just sat with that for a minute. The kindness of the Lord leads us to repentance. And so I was like, even though I don't remember all the context around it, but I was like, it's real dope. Like, it's his loving kindness. I think it's more so mercy. But his loving kindness that leads us to turn away from things that he doesn't love, to show that we love him. And I just kept thinking about that. And then I was asking myself, why would mercy, why would kindness lead me, or lead a person, but lead me basically, to choose to stop going one way, to turn around and go a different way. So I put up my hair for when I go work out. But so anyway, and I was like, well, where is that passage? What is it talking about? What is the context of it? My band broke. So I looked it up, and it is in Romans 2. And it talks about God's judgment of sin. And so I was reading it, and I was like, okay, the actual verse says, "Don't you see how wonderfully kind, tolerant, and patient God is with you? Does this mean nothing to you? Can't you see that his kindness is intended to turn you away from your sin?" So I was like, oh, wow. Like, God is wonderfully kind. Another version says the richness of his kindness. And he's tolerant and patient with us. And then ask the question, does that mean nothing to you? Now, this is the NLT. I kind of like it, though. But then it says, can't you see that it's his kindness that is intended to turn you away from your sin? So, anyway, thought that was really good. But then I read up before that, and it talks about how basically these, the people that the person who wrote the book was talking to, basically were condemning other people. And what was going on is that he was saying that you're just as bad, like you have no excuse. So that when you say that they are wicked and should be punished, you're actually condemning yourself, for you who judge others do these very same things. And so the point was, God is just and God will punish the things that need to be punished. But us judging others is not us being able to avoid God's judgment. It actually shows, like, the fact that we judge shows that our Creator will judge us. So I thought that was interesting. But then I went back to the chapter 1 because I was like, okay, who are these people judging? You know, what are they judging? And that, and this is not like some overly deep thing. This is just from surface value, me reading, but looking at the context because I feel like, because context matters in most cases and situations for understanding. Anyway, so I was just trying to understand. That's all. Just trying to understand. But anyway, so I was like, well, so then that is the verse that talks about how people, like basically God gave people over to their passions and desires. And that's when he starts talking about that instead of worshiping God, the creator, they decided that they want to worship each other and animals. They're choosing to not do things God's way, even though all of nature points to a miraculous, wonderful being that created it all. They're choosing to worship creation rather than a creator. And so I can see if you just read that, you would be like, yeah, get those people. So I'm like, it made sense. Like when I just read that, I was like, oh yeah, God gonna get those people. Sorry, this is not working out. But then the very next chapter says, you may think you can condemn such people, but you are just as bad. And then I thought that was real dope because I think that goes back to my meditation yesterday on seeing yourself. And part of seeing yourself is knowing that we all as people are people. We're all flawed. We all want to do our own thing. Like, listen, working with kids, I definitely noticed that. Well, I mean, it's just, yeah, they're humans. And that's a good point too. I just thought about that. Like, my people who have observed me at my school believe that I'm very patient. I will not say that I'm the most patient person, but that is something that I have desired to be. But I realize, number one, in loving my students, I really do love them and care for them. But also, like, when they do stuff, I literally see them as myself. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I get that. Because I can see myself doing that, whether I've done it or not. You know, I see myself in them. Yeah, so and then it makes me not want to like go off or be all mad. Like I don't feel like I've ever raised my voice honestly at them. I've talked sternly to them many times, definitely. But to have to raise my voice or do anything like that, I don't have to. I don't even really have much like punishment, I guess. But anyway, the point being is I'm able to be patient with them because I see myself with them, or it helps me to not want to, have big issues with them. Because I'm like, yeah, I get it. Or you're tired. I know when I'm tired, it's hard for me to listen. Or you're hungry. I know when I'm hungry, it's hard for me to focus. Or you're just angry about something. Yeah, when I'm angry about, so anyway. But also when I want to judge others, it's like, yeah, well, definitely, I'm not above anything that people do. And that doesn't make what they do right, but it also doesn't make me, it helps me to just remember that I'm not the judge and that God is. And so anyway, I'm just trying to think through also like, okay, so in terms of God calling us to be kind, tenderhearted, forgiving, compassionate, all those things, because he is those things, but he is also the one who judges. And we don't have to be afraid to be kind to others and try to force others to do things that we think are right, because we could look at our own lives and see that we don't do things right all the time, that we're stubborn, that we refuse to turn away from the things we need to turn away from. And that's enough for us to be worried about. So anyway, can I run in this? Can I be sustained? Maybe not. But anyway, just remembering it's the kindness of the Lord, his mercy, and then us seeing ourselves like, yo, like we don't deserve that. Like we are guilty. I am guilty. Before I look at somebody else and see their guilt, I need to see that I'm guilty of the things that, I judge others about also in a different way, but I'm not innocent. So try it this way. So anyway, that's my morning meditation before I go run. Hey. Just happy that worked.